Councillor Bevan, did you wish to comment on that issue?
No, I'm moving forward.
Okay.
We've just had a conversation about trying to get matters urgently onto an agenda. I just also want to make sure that in the normal course of events we understand, or that I understood what Leanne was explaining to us. So the agenda is publicised on a Thursday for a normal meeting, and if we wish to notify a matter to add to the agenda, that means that we've really got to get it in to either the chair or the CEO by Wednesday. So it's got to be a week in advance. Okay.
Right. Any other notices? Meeting today, Councillor Scott.
Just a query around that, Mr. Chairman. Under the Local Government Act, the CEO owns the agenda. But councillors' approach surely for putting on matters would be through the chair.
Certainly at late notice, but I think it's all part of early days of this council. People are still coming to grips with rules and regulations and legislation that are possibly outside their experience, certainly the commercial world. So I'm reasonably comfortable that we're getting into the swing of things. But certainly approach the chair directly if there is an issue. Let's move on. Any other notices?
Chair, we can't just move on, because I did request, I copied my email a week ago to the chair and the chief executive. I didn't even get the courtesy of an answer to that email. There is no excuse for us not having Ngāti Kahungunu here today. This agenda is not so full as we put a $600 million investment at risk, and that's what we've done.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, can I just give a little bit of advice? Read and learn and know standing orders off by heart, then there will be no problems.
Let's continue. Councillor Barker, do you have something constructive to add?
Firstly, I'm always constructive. Let's be real with that. I'm always positive and upbeat, and I'm going to be positive. And I want to take a positive lesson out of this. The frustration you hear from Councillor Graham is that he sent an email to, as I understand it, both you as the chair and the chief executive, and he says he never got a reply. Well, I think that's something that he's entitled to be frustrated about. Whether you agree with him or not about what is in his email should have got a reply. Whether it's in standing orders or not doesn't matter. The standing orders don't say you're obliged to
Order,
reply.
Councillor. He got a reply last night.
Got a reply?
He got an email reply from me saying it wasn't going to work today and we were still negotiating a time. So before we get on soapboxes here, let's move on.
Well, he just said before he didn't get a reply.
No, and an email reply to everyone on the issue. But let's not turn it into more of an issue than it is. Let's just keep the dialogue going with Ngāti Kahungunu. This is a step in a process.
I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
The second thing I was going to get onto is that I understand we have a memorandum which says that we have to reply, or the council is going to respond to the Board of Inquiry by the 8th of February. And I would have thought that's a pretty clear, bright line in the ground. Are you convinced that the process that you've embarked upon by having a conversation with the Kahungunu sometime in the future from this meeting is going to enable you to meet those requirements of that memo for the 8th of February?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, myself, Mr. Maxwell and several other staff are meeting with Ngāti Kahungunu staff tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We were told by Ngāti Kahungunu that they wish to consult with their marae and hapu on the matter before they met back with us, hence the setting up of a meeting tomorrow. And we were also under the impression, we had been told, that they wished to consult with their marae and hapu before they met at a Niki HBRC level as well. So our role is to ensure that the the deadlines for the Board of Inquiry submission are met, and we are working constructively and actively with Nikki's staff to achieve that.
One last question.
Councillor Barker.
I see in the paper that there's been negotiations and agreed changes to Plan 6. I'd hope that somewhere during the course of this meeting, these proposed changes or agreed changes to Plan 6 are outlined to the Council, and I'd also like to hear on whose authority these changes have been made. Because as I understand it, just what my concern is, that I understand the Council itself has signed off on Plan 6. So if the Council signed off on it, who then has the authority to sign off on changes without coming to this Council? That's my question I have in my mind. But I'd like that for later in the meeting when you come to it.
Thank you. Okay. The notices for today, conflict of interest declarations. Any of the matters before us, there being none. Confirmation of the minutes, 18th of December. I will quickly go through them for accuracy.
Mr Chairman, before you turn the page, on the opening page it says that Mr Mohi was there, and over the page it says he sent his apologies. Can't have been both.
Unless there are two of them. Mr Mohi, were you there or weren't you there?
The other fellow's the naughty one.
Okay, we will amend that, attend to that. Okay, page 2, page 3 for accuracy. Page 4.
Yes, Mr Chairman, on page 4, under item 8, the second to last paragraph actually needs to be rewritten. I suggest we don't try and do it now, but actually you check back so that it does actually make sense.
Which is this about
The EPA process involves expert scientists caucusing. The statement should read that expert caucusing occurred during the EPA and some agreements were reached between the scientists, or wording like that. So it just needs clarification around what it actually says and means.
Yes. So that
I suggest we don't try and wordsmith
the meaning
it
does
now.
not change. Yeah.
The fact is
Well,
that
it has
expert
some meaning.
caucusing occurred and some agreements were reached
Okay.
around. It certainly wasn't wholesale, but it was an update on the fact that expert caucusing was occurring during the EPA hearing and continued after that date, I might say. That just refers to up to that date.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. So the rest of that page 4, page 5, 6, 7.
Yes, through you, Mr Chairman. Sorry, one I didn't pick up earlier on the draft agenda, but under item 10, the solicitor we use is Andrew Wares, W-A-R-E-S. If we could just correct his surname, please.
Thank you. Thank you. 7, 8, 9. Page 10, page 11, 12, 13. Someone happy to move that with those couple of clarifications? It's a true and correct record. We have a seconder and Councillor Pipe. I'll put that motion in. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Okay, matters arising from that meeting. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor Pipe, you had a...
Page 9, top of page 10. When are we expecting the report on the possible improvements to the Hawke's Bay Regional? When are we expecting the report on the possible improvements to the Hawke's Bay Regional Council Wairau office?
That's a very good question. I've had 2 meetings at that office over the break, and I have a further discussion with the manager up there, and I'm going to do a small report just to councillors, just to where the lay of the land is, and if we can get some agreement, with those guys, we'll bring it to the next corporate and strategic meeting. Yeah, next March, I think that is.
And there's one just follow up on page 11 with regards to the Napier-Gisborne rail update, and I wondered whether Councillor Dick has any further information with regards to that since our last meeting.
Oh, simply that we've given everyone a chance to have a holiday, including the Minister and his officials. And there's been no response, so there's a reminder letter in draft to him at the moment, which should go away by Monday at the latest. And so we then expect to be back in business and pursuing the case vigorously.
Excuse me, no further matters arising. Let's move on to follow-ups from previous council meetings on page 3. I'll hand it over to the Chief Executive.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look, this is pretty self-explanatory, except I would like to note item 3 around a briefing on progress of the development of a regional and Lower North Island spatial planning framework. We did put in there that there would be a report to the Regional Planning Committee, but that's actually an error. This project is actually in the 2014-15 timeline in our long-term plan, so it will be starting in the next financial year. Our current strategies and regional plans and district plans have a number of elements of spatial planning in them, particularly the transport planning and the Hiratonga Plains urban development strategy. And those we'll be working on bringing those together as part of a potential spatial planning framework in the next financial year. So there will not be a report to the Regional Planning Committee on the 19th of February. The two of the other matters are to be determined through the annual plan process. That's the hourly charge-out rates for provision of information and looking at the separate funds that we've had established now for about 10 or 12 years to assist TLAs to upgrade community wastewater systems in unsewer communities. And then finally, item 2 is obviously on the agenda for today.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Barker.
The previous meeting I asked for a report on the costs and charges for small storage schemes on private farms. I was wondering when that's going to come.
That's on the agenda for the Environment and Services Committee meeting.
Thank you. Any other questions? You happy to move? Happy to move that. Seconded by Councillor Bevan. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Minor items not on the agenda. Hang on, I'll find the page. Right. Councillor Barker.
Number 2, one is when we were on a tour, someone asked the question about why we weren't using the prisons at Hawke's Bay Regional Prison for assisting with quite a lot of work, and I was told it was because we had to pay them.
So just give us the detail, and then you can bring that up at the end. Yeah. So prison? Yeah.
Prison labour, access to prison labour, not hospital.
Yeah.
And the second issue is about the fruit fly infestation of Whangarei. It's a long way
Fruit.
from here.
Fruit. Oh yes, fruit fly. Very good. Okay. Anyone else? Councillor Graham. I'll get it right. I don't know why I keep calling you Barker today. You just.
That's all right. Can I just have an update on the Cityscape building?
Cityscape. Okay. Right. Thank you. Fixing the common seal.